In the Jewish state, 94% of the Jewish population say, we want to kill them. This is unheard of. Three weeks ago, Israel sent its best trained military commando against a flotilla that was about to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. On board, they had peace activists carrying books, paper, medicines, cement. It wasn't a police force. It wasn't people who were trained to deal with civilians. It was a unit that was trained to kill. And they killed. They killed 9. They didn't kill. They executed. And again, write Mavi Marmara execution, and you will see Israeli soldier executing peace activists on board. The Israeli obviously argue that they were terrorists, because the logic is very simple. Once you are hit by a Jewish bullet, you become a terrorist. That's the way it works. But they didn't find any guns, any weapons. Now, the execution wasn't a local mistake on the ground. One soldier goes crazy. It was a decision that was taken by a democratically elected government. In this government, we have quite a few generals and Israeli chief of staff. In fact, the deputy minister was an ex-chief of staff. The Israeli call it the defense minister, but you know, it's not exactly defense to attack people to kill on a regular basis. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what unit they were sending, and they let them in with real live ammunition. They gave them, they sent them with a clear capacity to murder. And it wasn't just 9 people, it's 9 peace activists and another 40 or 50 injured, some of them severely. And it is possible that we have even some missing. There are reports of people that were thrown out of the deck. Now, the Israelis thought that they would get away with it. Obviously, they didn't. They didn't get away with the Goldstone report of their Operation Gaza, Operation Kaslit. And if they really wanted to maintain a siege in Gaza, this siege was broken a few hours after the raid. So they make mistakes time after time. This is very alarming when people make so many mistakes. They don't even serve their cause. Why it is very alarming? Because they have between 600 to 800 nuclear bombs. And considering the fact that they are engaged in a territorial conflict, they don't need atomic bomb. When you have a territorial conflict with your neighbor, you're not going to use an atomic bomb, because it may have some effect on your own plans. even small atomic bomb. If the Israeli cares about Sderot, Ashkelon, or even Tel Aviv, they are not going to nuke Gaza, or Nablus, or even Damascus. So why do they need so many atomic bombs? For the rest of the world, for Iran, for Turkey, the Greek can become anti-Semitic any minute. Even America is not behaving at the moment. We need a lot of atomic bomb because the entire world is against us. But the rest of the world is actually humanity. So basically, it set itself against humanity. We have a small, little nation that set itself against humanity and humanism. How that happens? I'm working on it for 10 years, and I couldn't come with a clear answer. I have something in mind now. I'm going to share it with you because this is how I'm going to end my new book. It's slightly complicated, but if you find it difficult, because I talk about it because I myself don't know how to formulate it. Avi already told me that it's impossible to understand. Temporality. It's all about temporality. History. History is our capacity or art of revisiting our past. What does it mean to revisit our past? We, in fact, need history because we want to shape our future in the light of our understandings of the past. So if I made a mistake in the past, I really want to believe that in the future I'll be cleverer. So to a certain extent, the past shapes our future. This is easy to understand. But at the same time, our vision of the future can also shape our past. So if I go back to this Hitler exercise, our understanding that the Jews, our understanding that Hitler, oh my God, again, cut, editing. Our understanding that Israel, I have 2 flights today, no oxygen. It's impossible what I'm doing here. You're good. Altitude. Our understanding that a Israeli nuclear attack against Iran may change the vision of the past is something that we can live with. This is exactly what history is all about. This is why some people go to university to study history. Because if history wouldn't be a dynamic, vivid form of knowledge, we wouldn't need historians. Don't worry, you want to know about Greek? Just learn Greek. No, we can still change. Read the Greek history in the light of our current understandings. Interestingly enough, this is history. This is humanism. Humanism is the capacity to revise the past. History, revisionism, is the elementary part of our human needs. It's crucial for our understanding of humanism. It's crucial for our understanding of reconciliation. Because if you punch me, not you, but I wouldn't, if you punch me a second ago, I can behave like the IDF and nuke you, or to behave like a good Christian and turn my other cheek. I mean, good Christian. I didn't see many Christian in Bush administration that did it. And they're supposed to be good Christians. I start to think sometimes that it's all about circumcision. Sorry. I just asked to get mine back, my foreskin, to get it back from the Israeli. Because I found out that they have a place where they modify into Israeli soldiers. This is how they win the wars. They do it in the place called the Jurassic Park. It's a scientific park. Anyway, this was a comic relief. Jason, you can cut it out later. More water, yeah? So, shockingly enough, there is no such a thing as Jewish history. Have you heard about Shlomo Zand? Yes. Shlomo Zand wrote a very interesting book. It came out in English, I think Verso. It came out in English a year ago. It is called The Invention of the Jewish People. And he proves behind doubt that it's a fantasy. Interestingly enough, from between the 1st century and the beginning of the 19th century, there was not a single Jewish history text written. And as you probably realize, it's not a problem, it has nothing to do with illiteracy. Jews were literate all the way through. They were famous for being literate, but they didn't write history. Why didn't they write history? Because they didn't need history. Why they didn't need history? Because for an Orthodox Jew, everything is in the Bible. You get all your answers. You have a problem, your wife is not willing to do something that you saw on YouTube, and you go to the rabbi, and he looks into the Talmud and says, "Oh, what you have to do, you have to bring, yeah. So they didn't write history. In fact, they didn't write history. There was very little science. There was very little contribution to humanity. But I'm talking now about history. There was no history. The springs of the nations, 19th century, all the European nations invent their past more or less, and so do the Jews. They invent the exile. They have to invent the exile. They have to invent the exile. Why do they invent the exile? Because they have to explain why there are so many Jews all over the place, except in Palestine. So they invented exile. It's easy, isn't it? Shlomo Zand comes and says, no, there was no exile. The Roman didn't expel anyone. They didn't have time for it. If they didn't like people, they just killed them.